We are live, everybody. Thank you for joining us to our second Meet DSA live stream. I am your host, Astrid, and today we have a special guest, as always. Last week, we hosted Andrea Caraway from the Online Student Experience Department. She's actually today as our moderator. And we had an amazing conversation. We will be updating this content soon in our website and social media platforms, so stay tuned for that. And today, our special guest is Corey Davidson from the Career Center. And we are going to be talking about Career Center resources for online students and other interesting topics. So, first of all, Corey, welcome to Meet DSA. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much. We're excited to hear all what you have to share with our online students today. I'd like to start off by having you to tell us a little bit about yourself, what your background is, and how you got involved in the Career Center.
Sure. So I actually I did my undergrad at UNT like a long time ago, and when I graduated, I just kind of stumbled into a role. We used to have a separate internship office, and so that's where I began my career at UNT. Was always kind of like internship focused, and then that office merged with the Career Center about 10 years ago. And so I've been with the Career Center ever since. And, over the course of the years, I started to like, I've got an English background, so like I can write, but I've was never had like a technology background or anything. But over the years, like in my old office, I learned a little bit of Drupal just to be able to do some basic stuff on our website. And then, we use a lot of different technology, a lot of different software through the Career Center. And so over the years, I've just sort of picked up little skills here and there in terms of, being a little more well versed in what we have and what we can do with that technology than some of the other folks in the office. So it's been something that just over time kind of naturally rolled itself into my position here, where I now still do get to work with developing internship opportunities for our students here, but I'm also our main point of contact for Handshake and some of the other technology that we're utilizing through the Career Center. So it's allowed me to really kind of hone those skills a little bit more than what I ever envisioned when I was getting my English literature degree.
Wow, that's amazing because for what you're telling us, you've been like fostering those skills throughout all your career, even before you jump into this role.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, so I'll come back to that in a little bit. But in general, what does the Career Center do, and how do you help students?
Sure. So broadly speaking, we're like from the second you're admitted to campus to like even as an alumni, all of our services are available to you. So that could be anything from, I'm looking for a job on campus, so I'm going to contact the student employment team in the office. So any on-campus like part-time job, whether it's working at Starbucks in the Union or working in one of the residence halls or working one of the cafeterias, desk job in one of the departments. All of those positions come through the Career Center. We also have my team that works specifically with developing internship opportunities. And then also for a lot of the academic departments on campus, if they have internship course credit, then it's oftentimes my team that's helping to process that stuff on the back end. And then we do just general career advising. So maybe like I'm majoring in mechanical engineering. What all can I do with that degree? Or I want to attend a career fair and I want someone to look at my resume first. So we host all of like the major career fairs across campus. We also do, one-on-one advising appointments for resumes, for job interviews, for anything along those lines to make sure that you're leaving the university kind of prepared with not only what can I do with my degree, but also I've done all of these things to prepare for it, and I'm, more marketable candidate than I might otherwise have been. But then also, like I mentioned, we're sort of like forever. So even after you've graduated from UNT, you still have access to Handshake, where we post all of the jobs and internships and all the information about the career fairs. And that's all stuff that you're going to continue to have access to. And then, beyond all of that, it's just anytime anybody has questions that are related to, like, what can I do in this field, or where, what's my next steps? What do I need to do to be more marketable in my career, in my field? And those are the kinds of things that we can help out with.
Yes, and that's fascinating because, as you mentioned, the career development is not just a process that happens in a specific time. It just
Right.
happens throughout all your, since the time you start your degree, during and after. Something that
Yeah.
keeps developing as you go. And one of the things you mentioned a lot here is internships, right?
Yep.
So as I explored the website, your website, the Career Center website, it you guys encourage every student to complete at least one internship, right? What
Definitely.
opportunities are there for online student to gain or students to gain relevant experience or internships in their field, and how does your department facilitate these opportunities?
Sure. So there's a few things. One is, especially like post-pandemic, a lot of employers, even at the internship level, have their internships set up to be remote, or some sort of like hybrid model. So even if you're not local, there still could be an opportunity to find internships that are going to allow you to kind of gain some experience. The other thing is that we've partnered with a couple of companies that are kind of more designed to provide short-term opportunities, but they're all going to be like virtual opportunities. So we've got a company called Parker Dewey, and what they focus on are what they call micro internships. So it's really more like short-term projects. So it might be, 10 hours or 40 hours, and they may need somebody to come in and do this one particular task. Maybe it's, they're building out a database or something, and so they need somebody to come in and work on a piece of that. But they post those opportunities through Parker Dewey, and they're made available to you so that you can see them and apply for them. It's just like applying for any other job, except that because these are very like short-term gigs, then the turnaround time is a lot faster. So the application process is a lot more simplified, and you usually will hear from them pretty quickly, because oftentimes, they may post the micro internship today, and they want to try to get somebody in the next week because they want the work completed in the next 2 weeks. All of those micro internships are going to be paid opportunities. So just because it's short term doesn't mean that you're not going to get, some financial gain from it as well. And you see all of that before you go to apply for those positions. We've also partnered with another company um, called Forage that handles, it's a similar world, but rather than posting opportunities with companies where their current projects that they need to have completed, they take a slightly different angle. And with Forage, they're going to be opportunities that they've worked with these employers to kind of list out in a more broken down form, and they're projects that the employer is already completed, so they're not waiting on you to get the job done. But what it does allow is for you to build up a skill set, because maybe you realize, oh, you know what, I haven't had as much, of a deep dive experience in Excel as I need for a lot of the roles that I'm looking at. You can look through the opportunities that are in Forage, and if you see one where you think, oh, this would allow me to kind of dig in and really do that, then if they provide you all the tools that you need, and then you just go in at your own pace and complete that project. It's not competitive at all, so you don't have to worry. Like with the Parker Dewey positions, it's a it's a simplified process, but you're still applying for each of those and seeing if you hear from the employer. with the positions that are in forage, since they're already completed projects, then you can just look through everything that's in there. And if you see something of interest, sign up for it, complete it, and then you've had an opportunity to still kind of work on that particular skill set. You're leaving with something tangible to be able to add to your resume, and
Mhm.
it's all done kind of virtually, and it's all done on your own time. So it's nice if you're trying to work around your when your projects are due for your classes and your part-time job that you've got, so you can kind of squeeze these opportunities in
Mhm.
and still feel like you're getting some good experiential education, um, even if it's outside of a traditional internship, or
Mhm.
before you kind of make the transition over into a more traditional internship.
That's fantastic, and knowing
Mhm.
that we have those resources. Um, and I mean, working this, as you mentioned, micro projects can really help to boost your skills, and also you never know who you get in contact with, right?
Right.
Those
Networking.
networking is so important, and what a great opportunity to get into that
Yeah,
part.
what I really like about those micro internships is that, they are still competitive, but because it's a truncated process, then it may be a particularly busy semester for you, and you don't have a lot of time to take on, additional work outside of what you
Hmm.
may already be doing. But you may know that, okay, like over spring break, I don't have anything going on, or these couple of weeks at the end of February, I don't have any major projects that are due. So I could probably squeeze something in, and you can kind of plan ahead for that, see what's available, and get your application out to those.
That's fantastic. Yeah, an opportunity to showcase your skills and to keep developing those
Yeah.
skills, plus making connections. That's what we
Yes.
need to do. So let's talk about resume and cover letters. That's a vital part of the when you're searching for a job, right? So,
Yes.
what support does the Career Center offers for resume and cover letters preparation? And are there any other tools or workshops available that you guys offer throughout the year, semester? Well,
Sure. So there's a few different things. That's sort of like kind of our bread and butter is the
mm-hmm,
resume and cover letter. And so it could be anything from, we have like for anyone that does find themselves on campus, we have drop-in hours where we've got career peer ambassadors that's their whole job, is to meet in these quick little drop-in advising appointments where they can give good kind of general information on and resume tips. But beyond that, then we do a lot of resume workshops. Some of those are going to be held virtually just through Handshake, where you can log in on the platform during that time frame. But we also do a lot of our career coach advising appointments are going to be to go over a resume and cover
mm-hmm,
letter. And any of our advising appointments, you have the option when you're scheduling an appointment to note whether you want to do it in person or virtually. And so all of our career coaches are going to have they'll usually have different blocks of time set up for each. So if you all you have to do when you're scheduling that appointment through Navigate is just indicate that you're wanting it to be a virtual appointment, and that's going to show you the availability of your particular career coach. And so just kind of going back to like the overview of the office, one of the things that I didn't mention was when it comes to all of these advising appointments, our office is centralized. So we work with all majors across campus, um, but we're kind of broken down. Our AVP always says centralized with the decentralized approach. So we've got career coaches that are out embedded in each of the colleges. And so depending on your major, you'll have a specific coach or a group of coaches that you're assigned to. So when you're logging in to Navigate and scheduling an advising appointment, you don't have to know which one of us you need to meet with. You just know that if you're scheduling an appointment with the Career Center and it's a resume appointment, you're going to see the availability of the coach or coaches that are assigned um, to your college. And so that way, when you're meeting with them, you're not only getting good, resume and cover letter advice, but you're also getting that advice kind of geared more towards the field that you're headed into, because it may not, there may be differences, within varying departments of a college, but the more important distinction is going to be that, like, if I'm a marketing or accounting major out of the College of Business, or I'm a computer science major out of the College of Engineering, there's going to be different things that I'm going to want to highlight on my resume. And so the fact that our coaches are kind of split into the various colleges across campus means that they're going to be more in tune to what you need to have on your resume as a computer science major, or as a music major, or as a journalism major. So you're getting more tailored information than what you might otherwise get. Um, then, outside of our advising appointments, we also utilize a software called Big Interview, and that's available like off as a link off of our website. And with Big Interview, it's an online tool that you can use for like mock interviews. So you can have it ask you questions so that you can record your responses to it. And so some classrooms will utilize that as part of an assignment they have, where they may want all of their students to do like a practice interview.
Mhm.
But there's also a resume piece of it. So if you've never had to create a resume before, or you haven't put together or updated your resume since you got your high school job, and you really need to kind of start from scratch with it, then Big Interview is the resume building template in there is a good place to start. It's very broad in what it asks for, but it would be a good way to kind of get something down on paper, so
Mhm.
that when you're then meeting with your career coach, then they're going through and taking at least some information and really kind of tailoring it towards, well, this is what you need to be doing to kind of focus in on your major, versus spending that first meeting with them just going over the basics of what to include on your
Mhm.
resume. So it's a good place to start with Big Interview, and then utilize the document that you come up with in that to then schedule an appointment and talk to a career coach who can really fine tune it and gear it towards your specific major and your specific
Mhm.
career.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah,
And actually, you answered one of the questions that I had before. Yeah, interviews is so you develop your resume, you put all the stuff that your experience and so forth. I mean, it goes deeper than that, of course. It's a very meticulous process. Sometimes people take for granted creating a resume, just putting all they what they've done before, and sometimes you need to just craft it. Sometimes no, you need to
yeah,
craft that resume according to the job you're aiming
definitely.
to get into, right? And
Yeah,
same with the interviews. There, I mean, you are the experts, and a lot of things has changed since we have now these remote jobs, right? And most of the in these cases, typically the interviews happen here, like this, using Zoom, Teams, and all these streaming platforms. So yeah, I would like to expand a little bit on that, if that's possible.
yeah,
You said there are some like videos or tutorials students can follow up for those interviews. Is there anything additional to it? They can mock up a one-on-one interview with an advisor or a
definitely.
coach.
So there's a lot of classes that actually will work with us to offer like mock interview days, and they usually, if it's in an area that has a lot of online students, then they'll work on an option for the students to be able to do it virtually. But then even just outside of that, yeah, when you schedule an a one-on-one coaching appointment with one of our career coaches, one of the options there is mock interview. And so that's especially helpful. It's good to do one kind of on the front end, just so that you can kind of get an idea of what that process would typically be like. We would set it up just through Zoom. So it would be very similar to what you would have with
Mm-hmm.
a first round interview with a company. But then even further than that, once you start interviewing for a lot of positions, then you can even schedule another mock interview And if there's enough time, you can feed us the job description of the job that you're applying to so that we could kind of tailor the questions a little bit more to the specific position that you're applying to.
Mm-hmm.
And, but even if we can't go that far with it, if you do a mock interview with a career coach fairly early on, and then do a mock interview again as you start to really heavily, apply to positions, then you've gone through the process a couple of times. You're a little more comfortable and familiar with it. It's
Mm-hmm.
never a situation that you're going to be comfortable with, but
Yes.
the more you kind of go through the motions with it and get typical questions asked to you, then the more comfortable you're going to be and the more confident you're going to be in the responses
Mm-hmm.
that you give. And so we don't know exactly what an employer is going to ask you when you're interviewing, but we've got a long list of just like typical interview questions that are very like behavioral based. So tell me about a time
Mm-hmm.
when, what are your strengths and weaknesses? So all of the kind of common questions that you're likely to get on any job
Yes.
interview. And those are the types of things that the more you hear them asked of you in different ways, the more comfortable you are with then having your response, but also being able to say, okay, well, this is what they asked me and this is what they're getting after. So here's
Mm-hmm.
how I need to reply to it. And all of that is just to make you more comfortable in the interview, in the moment, which
Mm-hmm.
is going to come across as confidence.
Yes, definitely. It's a process like everything,
Right.
but it's good to know that our students can rest assured that there is somebody here to help them in that process to improve the way they deliver and they portray their skills, right? Because that's what employers want to see. How, I mean, you told me this in paper that you know all these things, but now I want you to tell me, like, face to face, what actually you do and what are your goals. They want to see your passion for what you're trying to get in that job. So,
Yeah, like
um,
even us, like even if we're applying for a different job in the office, we
mhm,
have to apply for it and we have to interview for it. And if you think
exactly.
it's awkward to interview, imagine if you're interviewing with people that interview people for a living.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. So you mentioned before that students can access resources even after they graduate, right? Or they
Yes.
can connect with other students, network, alumni can be part of the career center, collaborate somehow. How does that work?
So basically, with with rare exception, almost all of our services are available to alumni as well. So if it's that you want to attend a virtual career fair or an in-person career fair, you're able to do that. If you're wanting to look in Handshake to look at different job opportunities because maybe you've done a few years at this particular company and it's time to move on to something else, all of that, your Handshake account, you will continue to have access to. After you graduate, we recommend obviously changing your, asking us to change your email address in the system from your UNT email over to a personal email. And that way it'll be something you'll continue to have access to. But yeah, that jobs list is going to update, multiple times a day. So as soon as a job goes live, and again, that's, you know, grad assistant positions on campus, that's
Mm-hmm.
part-time jobs on campus, but that's also internships and it's also full-time. And more employers will post positions in there for people with a little more experience. So recruiters are starting to utilize it for more than just like
Mm-hmm.
new graduate hires, like that first job out of school. So there's still other avenues that they may go down to look for those for people that have a little more experience.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're comfortable utilizing Handshake, they're likely to put it on there as well, just to see what opportunities are going to pop up and what applicants they might get through the process. So
Yes.
the more we utilize Handshake and the more other schools are utilizing it, then the more content is in there, the more information is in there. So I think
Mm-hmm.
if anything, like it's never a matter of us not having some opportunities in there for you to apply to. It's really going to be a matter of just using the search and using the filters to really kind of narrow it down in a meaningful way for you to find the right positions for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. And additionally to it, I mean, when I look on your website, there is something called college career communities.
Yes. So what we did there was try to break it down. It's for the most part by the different colleges on campus, but then we
Mm-hmm.
also have some different affinity groups in there as well. And a lot, all of our services are available to everybody, but really trying to focus in if it's a particular college or a particular group, are there certain key things that we want to really focus in on?
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's a student in the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences, these are the kind of things that we want to, specifically point out to them. If it's international students, then some other information that might be pertinent to them that's outside of the scope of, I'm a this major or I'm a that major. So really focusing in on different groups and
Mm-hmm.
highlighting what services we have. So in a lot of cases, it's overlapping with some of those other areas, but it's trying to package it in a way that makes sense to a particular group. So
Mm-hmm.
if you go to one of those career communities to look specifically to see, what's out there for me as a student in health and public service, then we want to make sure you're able to see all of that content and
Okay.
not have to dig through everything to find it.
Yes, and you mentioned something important, and that brings me to my next question. Many of our online students are non-traditional students, as you might know already, and some of them are already working in their careers, and others are switching careers or getting into a new field. How can students use their previous experiences to tackle new challenges and pursue new opportunities?
I think that would be one of those key times when it would make a lot of sense to schedule an appointment
Mm-hmm.
with one of our career coaches, because yeah, you may be making a big transition in your career from what you've been doing to what your current major is going to be. And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the things that we try to do is really go through and focus in on, making sure to highlight the skills that you're coming in with already that are going to be relevant to employers that are hiring somebody in the field you're transitioning into, while at the same time still honoring all of the time and effort you put into the work experience that you do have. And so there's different resume formats that we can utilize to really help you to kind of focus in on specific skill sets, even if those skill sets were acquired in jobs that might not, at the surface level look like they have any relevance to the types of jobs that you're applying to. And so it might be that we look at like a functional style resume where we're focusing in on specific skill sets as opposed to like a traditional chronological resume where I'm working here, before that I worked here, before that I worked here, and here's all the things that I did in each of these jobs. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's breaking down the duties from all of your past experience into um, skills that are going to be relevant to the jobs that you're now wanting to transition into and apply towards.
That's great. Like the old saying, where there is a will, there is a way, right?
Yes, exactly. And there's so many skills that employers are looking for are going to be those transferable skills. So yeah, you're going to be learning things in the classroom that are very relevant to the job that you're applying
Yes.
to, but there's also going to be a lot of skill sets that you're going to be coming in with, whether traditional or non-traditional
Mm-hmm.
student, um, that are going to be really advantageous for you to list on the resume. And so that's where getting us to take a look at it and help you to figure out, well, what are the things that I really need to be highlighting in the
Mm-hmm.
resume? What experience do I have that's going to be relevant?
That's true. And every job will teach us something for
Oh,
sure about our
definitely.
character and our
Yeah.
skills is an opportunity. And
Right. When you're interviewing with an employer, then you can kind
mhm,
of like sell yourself and sell your skills. But what we can hopefully do is help you to get down on paper enough information in a way that's digestible for the employers that
Hmm.
you're applying to these positions with, so that they pick up the phone and schedule that interview with you.
Yes.
But it's just to kind of get your foot in the door and get that initial phone call, that initial Zoom meeting, and then you can go into more detail and talk about that transition, all of that fun stuff.
Hmm.
But it's really getting something down on paper that's going to draw them to your resume.
Yes, definitely. Wow, this is amazing information. And there is much more. Like if you go, if it's our students go and the Career Center website, right?
Yes,
And
definitely.
but yeah, can you tell us how online students can stay in the know about resources and programs hosted by you guys, and how they can get in touch with staff members? You already mentioned they can set up an appointment through Navigate, right? But
Right. We also have all of our staff contact information is on the
mhm,
website, and the easiest way to get to it is actually, I mean, we have like an about us page, and you can get to the like all of the staff from there. But even from those college career community pages,
mhm,
you can link to a page that will show you all of the career coaches for your particular college, so that you know, again, you don't have to go track down who it is that you need to be in touch with. You can find that information, and it's readily available. um,
mhm,
just on our main website, we pull over a lot of the stuff from Handshake, so that hopefully you can see in you know, pretty pretty much real time what's going to be coming up over the next week or couple of weeks. But even more importantly than that is, if you just take a minute to log into your Handshake account,
mhm,
you can go into the events section, and it will show you any upcoming career fair or workshop, whether it's going to be online or in person. You can actually filter just to show you the stuff that's virtual. And employers have the option of posting events there as well. So we see a lot of employers that'll have like virtual open houses that are scheduled on certain dates, and you can see all of that information in there. So in a lot of cases, it's events that we're setting up, that myself and my colleagues are working behind the scenes to create. But there's also a lot of opportunities out there, um, because Handshake is such a large platform and so many employers are utilizing them. Then it's an easy way for an employer to say, hey, you know, I want to bring out a group of folks, you know, to do something on site. But they can
mhm,
also say, I actually just want to set up like a virtual town hall, or a virtual meeting where anybody that's interested in learning more about what XYZ company does
mhm.
can register and attend. And all of that stuff is just going to get funneled through the events section of Handshake.
That's great. I have used Handshake a few times, and I really like how it's so user friendly. There, it even shows you if you're not qualified, but it can guide you if you're the
Yeah.
a good candidate for that position. And also, like, yeah, it keeps me posted about career fairs, as you mentioned, and
Yeah.
other activities there. So, yes, I strongly recommend everybody to go to your Handshake, use your, as an UNT student, you have access to it freely. You can create a profile, right?
Yep.
Yeah, your professional
And
profile.
the other nice thing about it too is, like, when you're looking at the like an upcoming career fair,
Mm-hmm.
then the employer list that's associated with that fair updates in real time. So as soon
Okay.
as an employer registration is approved on our end, it shows up on that list, which means maybe you're an online student, and so you really want to focus on the virtual fair. But if you're local enough that you can make it on campus, and there's going to be a fair with an employer that you're really interested in,
Mm-hmm.
you know that they're going to be there, so you know that it's worth the time and effort to try to get up here for it. Um,
Yes.
and so you're able to, you know, keep tabs on, you know, the virtual fair is this date, here's all of the employers so far that have registered for it, but I
Mm-hmm.
checked that in 2 weeks, and now there's an additional 10 or 20 employers that have signed up. So
Mm-hmm.
all of that just updates in real time, so you're able to see all of that. And then, yeah, you can set up your account to notify you anytime there's a new career fair listing that goes live. You can set it up to notify you. If you
Mm-hmm.
go through and filter to say, I want to look at just internships that are just remote and have a keyword of this, you can set all of that up and it can notify you anytime there's a virtual internship that pops up that has that
Mhm.
keyword.
Yeah, it's fully customizable, so you get
Yeah.
what you need, right?
Yep.
So,
That is the hope.
yes. Corey, are you guys a career center in any social media platform that
Yes. So we've
students can
got
follow?
we are better than we used to be, but we could still be better at it. But yes, we are on Facebook and Instagram and X and YouTube. And
Mhm.
predominantly I would say um, yeah, YouTube is going to be more like some of our videos that get embedded onto the website, but definitely Facebook and Instagram and X we're posting on, trying to post on, at least relatively regularly.
That's great, and we're gonna post your contact information shortly.
Yeah.
But yeah, to wrap up our conversation today, what are your top tips for online student success?
Get get engaged in whatever way possible. So you don't have to be on campus to be engaged with our office. You don't have to be on campus to be engaged in with employers that are recruiting here. There's lots of different ways that you can be preparing for your career while you're taking your classes without ever setting foot on campus. I think that's the
Mhm.
beauty of a university the size of UNT is we've got the infrastructure in place to be able to support students that are on campus and support students that are hundreds of miles away and never set foot on campus.
Mhm.
But just making sure to utilize all of those, as many of the resources that we make available to you guys as possible. I know it gets
Yes.
overwhelming sometimes because you're like, oh, I didn't know we had this. Oh, I didn't know there was this. Oh, I had no clue that existed. So
Uh-huh.
sometimes it takes a little digging to find the stuff that's, more relevant to where you are at your particular stage, but really just
Mhm.
try to engage as much as possible.
Yes, definitely. And actually, I will say it reduced that overwhelming feeling because we have everything here in the house. It's at UNT. You don't have to go externally,
Yeah,
Google things where we have all those resources right here for you. So, yeah, that's the beauty of it. And using technologies to communicate
yeah,
is just fantastic. It get us closer, even if we're physically distant, right?
right. Yeah. A lot of times that doesn't matter anymore.
Yes. Um, well, we're gonna display Corey's contact information in a minute. We are gonna get back to our students with any questions after this live streaming. But I just want to say thank you, Corey, for being here, for
Thanks for
sharing
asking me.
your wisdom, your valuable information about the Career Center and the all that your team does for our UNT online community and overall UNT family, right?
Glad to
Um,
help.
Yes. Any final thoughts? Anything else you want to add to
No,
this?
I would just say feel free if any of you guys, if you have questions about the Career Center, just reach out to me. If I'm not the person, then I'll know who it is and I can get you in
Hmm.
touch with them. But feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Yes, that's fantastic. Thank you, Corey, very
Of
much.
course.
And thank you, everybody that streamed. Tune in with us today. We will be having our next Meet DSA in about 2 weeks. So stay tuned. We will be posting that information in our UNT calendar, and you will be receiving an email from us too. So thank you once again for tuning in, and you have a great day. Go Mean Green.